Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Grubbly. Today's video is about Path of Exile 2, and I want to go over how the league start went for my plans with the Black Flame Fireball Acolyte. So first of all, my league start got very interrupted because I ended up having to go to the ER because of what turned out to be a gallstone and having my gallbladder removed. So for those of you who have seen me on stream and seen that I often like to joke that just amputate, trust me, I'm a doctor. I practice what I preach. I had 7 pain, so I amputated it, or rather had the surgeon amputate it for me. And that did mess up my amount of gaming over the launch weekend. In total, so far, this character has, let's see, so just about 28 and a half hours played. I would say probably at least an hour and a half of that was actually AFK, like first day. I had stuff to take care of with the family. And then, second evening on Saturday night, ended up going to the hospital, and that messed up the at keyboard time for a while before I shut it down. So anyway, it's been a bit of a slow start. This is my first time playing Caster Acolyte, but it wasn't bad. It was not the smoothest for sure. A lot of a learning curve. And let's see, how many slash deaths am I up to now? I'm 70. Only 70? I thought it was more. I've finished the first of the interludes. I finished the campaign, Act 4 bosses. Most of them I didn't die on, actually. I would say I die more to packs that surround me, and I can't do burst damage right around myself like I'm used to with the Frozen Locust build from last league. But this is where I've gotten it so far. I did start out with Essence String Contagion, as I had mentioned, and part of the reason for all those deaths is because I was focusing on going for all the attribute nodes, and it's not scaling the defenses like I'm used to for a typical monk playstyle. So I wasn't running evasion energy shield gear and having that evasion aspect at play most of the time. And I've found that when leveling, having no evasion or armor is it's pretty rough, really. Especially because I wasn't really scaling energy shield mods until, I don't know, somewhere in the 40s or 50s. And yeah, so that I would not recommend starting that way in the future. I probably, if I were to try this again, I would just start with the quarterstaff style monk and then swap over, or at least for most people, that's what I would recommend. Personally, I do like to try and play and build what I'm going to be playing as I go, but it was definitely slower, and it's a rougher time. So I'm now level 59. I have 1500 energy shield, partly because of some pretty good gear, which I'll go over in a bit. Do have 1200 life. My reses are not great. I've not been able to focus on getting those up as much. Oops. And so just going over the tree, let's start with going over what my original plan was. This is the one that I actually did, and here we go. So my thought was going to be something like this. This was again based on the old tree. I think it was, or actually I might have redone it afterwards. This was, sorry, let me turn off the cell phone notifications. Okay, so this was my overall plan, and some of it I was able to get to, some of it I had to adapt just because of I was dying too much. It wasn't working out well. So in the actual plan, what I ended up doing was I did still take things like the extra proj nodes, took the damage. I did take the curse wheel. This is one of the new wheels that was not there when I was doing the original planning, and for an acolyte going with Into the Breach nodes, this is actually really strong. So remnants picking up from 10% further away is nice, very good quality of life. And then the 3% mana and life recovery on collecting a remnant is really solid, especially because you can then later on go for the purple flame node, where all of them are purple flames, and you'll still be recovering life and mana. So that's really, really strong. So I do recommend taking that. Then over here, I did stick with that black flame node. I did not decide to go with the tech where I have minions from a scepter and I'm reviving them, or killing them off or reviving them in order to get stacks of volatility, but that is one way to go. uh, because when you're doing essence drain leveling, added chaos damage actually isn't helpful. So were I to try this again, I would not have actually taken the volatility node as my first ascendancy point. I would have actually gone with Into the Breach first. I did want to play with this, but Into the Breach is just what's actually going to be more helpful for the recovery while you're still doing Essence Drain Contagion, or possibly something else. I don't think Leech works very well from damage over time, but the volatility does not help out for Essence Drain itself. So this is really coming into play once you switch over to Fireball. I did find that I was lacking a lot of cast speed for it to work well, especially before I had Unleash on Contagion. I needed more cast speed in order to hit the target, and that was a bit of a frustration, so I did go for these nodes, and I did end up... actually, by the time I got over this part, I didn't need it as much, but this was in the original plan as well. And definitely need some spell damage mods in order to scale the DPS from the Essence Drain. Later on, though, I can probably drop these now that I've got a lot of spell damage on my staff. So anyway, all this is pretty much similar. I did end up taking Energy Shield, Recharge, and Charge Speed and Recharge delay. I took those nodes just to help with the tankiness, and that has helped out a bit. And then if we actually, I'll show you in game. So for skills, I've now swapped over to mostly using Fireball. I'm not actually using Essence Drain now. And for single target, I am playing around with, where is it? Incinerate. This is mostly, I'm just experimenting, but it actually has pretty decent damage. It's a channeling skill. You have to hold still, and there's no supports that give you extra stages when you're channeling. So it can be pretty rough, but I'll do a bit of a showcase demonstration on that. Another bit of tech to know about is that flammability is counting as an elemental ailment for applying stacks of volatility. So if you just place Solar Orb, or I was doing Solar Orb with the Overabundance to be able to place 2 of them, which I'll put in and I'll show you. It lets you gain stacks of volatility on single target very nicely. If you've got the Solar Orb, the staff, or if you've allocated the skill, I don't remember if it's on the gems now, or if you can only get it through the staff. But that was really nice for helping get some extra volatility going on single target. I tended to get like 30 stacks on a boss before those expired. So I will have all this in the POB. Just real quick, Incinerate, I'm just trying these out, like more damage, increased cast speed, and damaging faster and more flammability. I would say probably the big thing this build needs is to get flammability faster in order to get the ignites going, because that tends to help with the living bomb skill in order to get the remnants. Essence Drain, I'll skip over, but it'll be in the POB. Contagion, I have Zenith, which again, Contagion itself is not actually doing the damage, so I'm not sure if I even really need that, but I do have Unleash in order to hit 3 targets at one time, which makes it much easier to kill the right one to spread things around. And then Chaotic Freeze, and this is so that it can kind of like, a lot of the mobs are being frozen, which allows another stack of volatility to apply. Now Despair, I am running Impending Doom for Doom Blast, which is really helpful for, honestly, like Abyss, when the mobs are all coming out of the Abyss. That is so easy for Essence Drain Contagion, or even the Fireball build, just because like they just chain off of each other. Contagion mixed with Despair and Doom Blast was such good clear for that. And then if you got a bunch of little mobs around, a rare or a single target, they chunk it away very nicely. Burning Inscription, again, another damage over time, burning ground under them. And then just the cost. The cost is so high on this. It's like even with efficiency 2, it was at 118. Actually, that might not even be applying. Let's see on here. Here it says 122. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I take that out. Yeah, 203 mana if I don't have efficiency 2 in there. So yeah, the cost on curses gets crazy expensive. For fireball, I do have graders on here. I don't have any perfect ruler orbs. I've got 100% more flammability magnitude, which I could scale up now. I've gotten more supports. I got more cast speed, wild charge 2, chance to fire additional proj in a circle, and +1 level for more damage. Dark effigy, I can place 2 of them because I've got overabundance, and this is because when I've got damage over time going, I've got contagion, burning ground, or ignite, and I believe those might be the only 2 actually going. But then dark effigy, I have poison support, which gives chance to poison on hit, and if that happens, they're taking a 3rd cast damage over time, so it'll actually start shooting them with 3 projectiles, and then just increase cast speeds to get it up faster. Living bomb is the way we're getting our remnants going consistently to allow fireball to do its best damage. So for that, I've got increased cast speed, harmonic remnants, which I could upgrade to the 2nd one, and elemental focus for more damage, because this is actually a damage over time. So if you've got fire, it says, yeah, it has duration, so that's the damage over time, although it doesn't phrase it this way in the damage. If you've got living bomb on them, actually, well, I don't have a good way to test. Not black flame, dark effigy should be counting this as damage over time under the chaos category, because black flame is converting all fire damage to chaos. So this should actually give them 4 shots. And then I'm running withering presence, which I could actually drop now because of taking this node on the tree, wither away. However, I don't know if wither away applies continuously the way withering presence does. And then I'm running siphon elements so that when I'm igniting a mob, it will have a chance to spawn a remnant, and that'll just make it easier for me to keep up fireball. So I think that's all the important ones. Oh, on Into the Breach, currently I'm running harmonic remnants for a chance at additional and from further away, and the remnant potency 3, where it's 40% increased effect and it delays the effects. I have not done the 3rd trial, but what I would probably do, I have to see based on the current gameplay. Mana isn't so bad, but I am having to use my flask a lot. Since I'm doing fireball, here's the problem on this node. None of the leech mods on gear can affect spells. They only are for attacks, which is pretty bad. I'm kind of disappointed in them that they chose to not add some leech in here, like, you know, even 1% per 20 character levels, letting you have 5% leech from this. Like, come on, the boy is hurting. He was 0.1% play last league, 0.7 by the end or something like that. So like, why didn't they give us a little bit of leech in here? So as of right now, this node only works if you're doing attacks. So for caster Acolyte, it does not work. I could go for the cast damage, but honestly, since I'm going all energy shield gear already anyway, I'm probably, if I just take this character further and further as I'm doing it now, I'm probably just going to go CI. Because up here at the top, I'm right there anyway. And the Abyss node, or the Abyss mechanic, has so much cast damage in it. If I can get enough energy shield, I probably will just do that. I would just have to see how all the points go and if I can actually make that work well. But if I'm not going CI, then of course the double chaos res is very nice. The unraveling, I don't know. It could be useful for adding additional elements if you're trying to do volatility stacks. I'm not so sure about that one, but certainly we're not going darkness on this. And void illusion is an attack, so we're not going to be, actually, yeah, it counts as an attack, so it's not going to be scaled. So we're left with likely the 2nd flames node in order to get all flames of one type, or, you know, basically like one of these 2. That's your only option if you're going caster Acolyte. Now, speaking of all flames, not like in POE1 with all flame, but there is tech here, which I think I mentioned in the first video, where you could go for mind over matter and scale mana. And if you do that, you can get the blue flames here. And that'll just be really strong on defense because they'll all be like 10% plus and they'll be all over the screen. And then you, in addition, you've got an additional 3% here, and then you could just, you could keep this on if you're not going CI. I'm going to be removing it when I do go CI. But like, if you see here as I'm running around, they're not actually coming up as often. If you're standing around, like here, if I'm standing and I stand for a while, you'll tend to walk, especially like if you're doing something in your inventory. When you're in, that's why it wasn't all there. I was in the passive tree, so it was paused. If you're not paused, when you come along, then all of a sudden there's extra flames around like that. So you come into clusters. But like, I don't know why I was showing 1 and then jumped to 5. Oh, right, this is the delay in the numbers. So as you can see, it's like, it's hard to get up to full stacks with without doing all purple flames and the fact that they left it at 5 seconds. So now let me just show you. I'll do a little experimental here. Oh, hold on, I'm still editing apparently. So I'm gonna go over to the interludes. I already cleared all of these. Actually, I'm not gonna go there because I'll end up like reading stuff and I'll just delay the video. So let's say in Holden, right? Go here, I'll just show you a bit of how the gameplay is going now that I switched over to Fireball. And again, I would say, oh, you know what? Before I do that, I forgot to go over my gear. So this staff, I switched over to Fireball when I got this staff. I got this from a friend. Plus 6 level of fire skills is really strong. And this is a really, really sick staff overall. Like, that is a huge cast speed roll. That's a lot of spell damage. So my damage here with Fireball is going to be, I think, better than most people are going to be able to get. I tried messaging a couple people on trade about getting the Sire of the Shards staff that does, what is it, +4 projectiles, and they go in a circle around you. Like that's what Grath is using on the Blood Mage. I think that'll still be a good option, especially because it makes it easier to shotgun. But I didn't manage to get my hands on one yet. So really strong spell. Before that, I leveled with this from like level 26 all the way through the campaign and the start of the interludes up until I was able to use this staff. As a side note, I had been going like all intelligence nodes on the tree, just trying to scale the mana and get ready for decaying hex support. But then, and that's part of why I was doing all energy shield gear, but I don't think that's necessary. I would probably focus more on the gear if you can get some of the defensive nodes as well, if you want to try something like this. So anyway, I was using this. It had +3 all spells, so it was affecting all the chaos spells and the fire spells. So I was like mixing half and half with the fire stuff during bosses. I would say from, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the 30s to 40s. And yeah, having life on kill also was probably my saving grace multiple times. But the solar orb was really nice. So that's how I did it. Before that, I had been running a +1 chaos wand and +1 chaos or all spells focus or something like that at the start. But then you need more levels to push up the DPS as you're going. On my ring, it was pretty much a bad ring. It's like some dex, fire res, and lightning res. So really, I need to replace this. My helm, I got really lucky on some slams and have a nice big energy shield helm with a nice life roll. The energy shield recharge rate is very quality of life, and some res. My chest, I was really, really lucky on that. For a item level 50 item, that is not bad at all. Again, faster start of recharge for your ES. That's helpful for me as a pure ES build. Teeny tiny bit of life regen, but some life. And then just 288 flat energy shield. I had, I think, like 350 energy shield from my various pieces of gear. And when I started swapping a couple of these pieces and taking a couple of the nodes, all of a sudden I went up to like 800 energy shield, 1100 energy shield. Now I'm up to 1500. So nice to see that finally fleshing out. My amulet, I was very lucky on this one as well. The strength that, gives a little bit of life, but energy shield, a big life roll. The crit chance isn't really relevant because I'm not trying to crit with fireball. And some nice regen, and then life regen, and then the mana regen is always helpful because I do burn through mana. This ring is a little better. The life on kill and the mana per kill are really, really nice. Probably that mana per kill is a big reason of why a lot of times I don't think the mana issue is as bad as it probably is, because I'm, when I'm burning through packs, then I'm just getting all that mana back, which is very helpful. My boots, I'm running a 10% speed because I just got so many other good mods mixed in, and 116 flat energy shield on there. That was, yeah, I would much prefer to have faster boots, but not yet. My belt, some life, a little bit of armor. Not that it's doing anything. Well, I've got like 7% reduction. But basically life and some res and some regen. And then my gloves. Again, a big bunch of energy shield recharge rate, and mana per kill. So this one, like, I'm gaining 15 and 14. So I'm getting 29 mana per enemy killed, which is, again, that's probably why I think mana is not such a big issue. All the more so on the other things if it were. And then, of course, since I'm trying to go energy shield, I really need to have iron runes on all of these things and get more res on the gear. So, and then for charms, I'm just, these are what I was running from the campaign. I never switched them up. And I had this poison from Act 3. So I've pretty much ignored my charms. All right. So let me just give you a quick showcase on the playstyle now that I've swapped over to Fireball. Okay. All right, so the whole screen pops thing is very nice. There is overlap. I honestly, so far, I'm gonna say it probably would be better to be doing Blood Mage. I personally really love to play Acolyte, so I don't mind. But I can certainly say, like, if I didn't have that and I wanted to play this sort of build, I would probably be doing the Blood Mage. Alright, so here, like, watch this rare, his health is going down, that's from the totems. And then he got frozen. But then here, I'll show you, this is Ignite. Now here with Ignite, I actually want to talk about Volatility for a second. Not Ignite, sorry, Incinerate. So I just got up to 36 stacks of Volatility with that. And they already fell off. The Burning Ground, there's probably some tech there to pay attention to. But I want to just show you a picture, which I can just pause this. I want to show you this for a second. So you know how Volatility can have a cap of 200, correct? That was the change they made, and there was this whole tech that they were going into, or I should say that they deleted for 0.3, where you could use empowered attacks in order to gain 5 stacks of Volatility per empowered attack. And people had found out 3 ways to do that to get up to the 200 stacks really quickly and be able to, like, nuke bosses. So they deleted that. The gem was not Catharsis. I forget which one it was called, but it's the one that allowed you to have empowered attacks. As a side note, I do not currently have a skill with Catharsis support on it, which actually, is Catharsis even there? Okay, yes. Catharsis is still here, and I can explode a random amount. So that could be helpful at times, but honestly, a lot of times, if I'm needing it to explode, the fight is taking a long enough time anyway, but having to pause the DPS feels bad. Now, the cool thing that I found, number one, I mentioned that Solar Orb is applying Volatility, right? So look, I'm gaining stacks right now, and it does it every pulse, and they alternate with each other. So that's number one. So Solar Orb is a nice quality of life way to gain your Volatility stacks. Number two, I found a bit of hidden tech. I forgot to mention this, but I did end up anointing instability like I had mentioned. Chance that when you, 25% chance that when Volatility on you explodes, you regain an equivalent amount of Volatility. 2 things about this. Number one, it seems like when you regain that, the stacks that are building up in the upper left corner as you know, like as I'm applying this. So you see how that's building up 15, 15. Oh, it's not actually. Oh, so see there, it wasn't doing it. So maybe I'm wrong about the whole flammability counting as an ailment. I'm not completely sure. Or they were all ignited or something, and that's why it wasn't working. So when that procs here, so like there, I've got it's building again. I believe that this timer, you cannot build from where you were. I think it's actually coded where that counts as its own stacks, and if you're applying more ailments to people or monsters, I should say, then you're starting from 1, and it's kind of like a separate timer thing. So I don't know whether that's intentional or not, but that's one thing I noticed. So just something to be aware of. This doesn't happen enough, and we're not getting, at least at as far as I am right now, I'm not getting enough volatility that I think this is worth it. So for anoint, I was thinking of going down here and anointing the split shot node for projectiles having an additional projectile when forking. I know Garatha was playing around with this. I haven't managed to watch all of his videos about it. Been a little too busy in real life with the hospital and everything and trying to get back to gaming. But this is definitely something to consider. I don't think I would bother with Subterfuge Mask, but it probably is an option, honestly. I don't know how rare Suffering is, but it looks like it's pretty rare because they tend to go in Roiji Biv order for rarity, and that's a pretty dark one. So anyway, other options for anointing, I'm probably going to try with the fork node or possibly the trick shot. That looks expensive. Never mind. Scratch that. This one though, again, it's got the purple, so this might be a bit expensive, but I'm not pathing all the way down here on this build. So that could be good. Otherwise, I'll just have to figure out something else that's good to anoint. Possibly this thing if I want to go for minions. We'll see. This would be a good way to get volatility going. Just have a low level scepter in your offhand that allows you to have minions that die easily and you just get extra volatility. So that's one thing. However, while this node I think is not great, I did find out that we can actually bypass the 200 volatility limit. Because last night, as I was doing this, why isn't that? Oh, there we go. I got up to 214% because this procced when I was at 107 on a boss, and I got up to that using Incinerate. Incinerate is constantly generating the points, the volatility stacks as you use it on a mob or a boss. And when it went off, I had 107, and then I got the 25% chance for it to double proc or to give back that amount, and then that expired, and it actually took it up to 214%. So this means Acolyte actually has a ceiling of 400% volatility, which is pretty sick. That's a total of what, like 500% DPS, or 500% added chaos, but you only have a 25% chance to do that, and it's really hard to get the stacks going. So, you know, like the volatility, or sorry, not volatility, Incinerate, you see how fast the stacks are going up? It's not bad. When you do that on a boss, it goes up pretty quickly. It does run out of fuel and you have to spend your mana, so then you just have to make sure that you're still doing DPS to keep it going and regain your fuel. And then I can be, and also you can die, because again, channeling. This is why people don't like channeling in PoE. Yeah, so that's a nice little tidbit. I don't think it's practical to go for, but it's just cool that Acolyte has the potential to hit 400 stacks. Anyway, I think that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below. Please join the Discord if you want to talk. I love hearing from people, trying to grow the community. Come hang out on stream. I will be off for the next probably at least 2 weeks because of the surgery recovering. So I will be on much more often than usual, and I'll be on stream on Twitch. So come hang out there. In addition, there's one other thing that I'm blanking on. Could just be the pain meds making it harder to think. But right, I'll try and give updates to the build as I mentioned, I hadn't gotten a chance to play with the wild shard staff, so I'm going to go ahead and get one of those and keep going on the campaign, get to mapping, see how this is an end game, because as I said, probably this is more of a build that most people are going to swap into after leveling, and I'll just have to figure out where is the ideal point for that. One other thing, I'm probably just going to drop Incinerate, because as a single target, it's, you know, it's dangerous, doesn't work so well. And then I'm going to need to play around with the other fire skills, whether probably Ember Fusillade as like single target or something. I know that's a very popular one, or Flame Blast or something like that. Anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks so much. You guys have a good day.